The Shark Deck.
Did you see last week we learned that Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas had secretly accepted luxury tips from right-wing billionaire Harlan Crow? Long setup there. I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Jordan Klepper was hosting The Daily Show. He said of Harlan Crow, that's his actual name, not his Game of Thrones cosplay character. Stephen Colbert said Crow is an arch-conservative who's known for his assorted Nazi memorabilia and garden full of statues of the 20th century's worst despots. It's so impressive that they put him on the cover of Hitler, Holmes, and Goebbels. I like that joke. Jordan Klepper again. On top of that, Clarence Thomas's mom is still living in that house rent-free, and Harlan Crow is paying for thousands of dollars of renovations, all of which Clarence Thomas should have disclosed by law, though in his defense, law is complicated and he's only a Supreme Court justice. Interesting interview with Dane Cook in the Niagara Falls Review, and I really like how they wrote this. They wrote, the enduring image of Dane Cook as a comic in constant motion, prowling the stage, waving his arms, his body reenacting every story. It helped make him the biggest comic in the world for a long stretch, but even then, Dane Cook knew that manic style had a shelf life. At some point, it'd have to hold the audience's attention without running laps around the stage. Dane said, I remember calling my mom after I broke through that first year and saying, I can't be this guy. I don't want to be this guy. She was like, what's the plan? Dane said, the plan is to age out with my generation. I have to be willing to evolve and to grow and mature. He forced himself to plant his feet and engage with the audience. Dane said, I hadn't experienced bad sets like I did in 2011 when I made that decision to implement stillness. I was crushing it for years. I was like, okay, I know all the tricks and the cadences, little tells, I know my things, but that was hard, really hard. And yet within a few weeks of doing it, it empowered me. I was like, I'm funny even if I'm just sharing something in no gear. Of the early 2000s, he said, I was like the coolest guy in the room, and that made me the uncoolest guy in the room. Thank goodness for youthful naivete. People don't realize this is a perk early in life. As you get a bit older, you look at some of the treacherous avenues you have to take in the entertainment industry, and it's not for the weak of heart. It's not for the strong of heart, even. It's cutthroat. It's competitive. It's everything that's the opposite of what you see when you see the red carpet and the razzle-dazzle. It's a brutal machine, and you've got to know yourself well enough to go, how do I fit into the machine of the cancel culture these days? Dane says, you could say the words. You could describe in great detail an abomination, a racist incident. You could talk about all of it if you've lived it. You can't be observing and reporting like you used to. They don't want it. They don't want to hear it. You'll get turned off. Ray Romano's new movie is out, and Parade magazine asked him, so, exactly how autobiographical is this movie? Did you meddle in your son's future like your character Leo did? Ray said, my son Joe is 6'5" and was the star of his basketball team in LA. I loved going to the games, and if I'm being honest, I also enjoyed the attention that I got from it. It's kind of sad if you think about it, because I'm a celebrity from TV, and I needed more attention. I lived vicariously through him. But he wasn't going to play in college, unlike my son in the movie. Ray, did you have immigrant Italian parents? Ray said, mine were second generation. My wife's family came right over from Italy, and for 35 years, I experienced that rich tradition of family and celebrating and eating, and I took in their standards and what they believed in. I wanted to write for that universe. Is it true, Ray, you lived at home until you're 29? Ray said, that was my life. I lived in my mom's house and moved out the day after I got married. Let me tell you, I have a 25-year-old son still living at the house in LA and another who's 30 and moving out, but I have quite a different house than one I grew up in. For that one, we had a bathroom and the house was about 1,600 square feet. I shared it with my mom, dad, and 2 brothers. My kids have a theater, 11 bathrooms, a pool, and tennis courts. I don't think they want to go anywhere ever. Adam Devine told High Times, when I was 11 years old, I was hit by a 32-ton cement truck and couldn't walk for almost 2 years. I had 25 or 30 surgeries, something like that. And after having such a near-death experience as a kid, comedy was my warm blanket. It was something that made me feel good. I liked making people laugh, and it was something I could do from a wheelchair. Once I didn't die, I think my parents were like, all right, if he wants to do comedy, more power to him. He's not dead, so he can do whatever he wants. I honestly don't know if I would have gotten involved in acting or comedy if I hadn't had the accident. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. Comedy wasn't a real job to have. The accident changed his perspective. He said, anything is possible. You only have one life. You might as well try to live it in the way you want to live it. As much as it sucks, I'm still in residual pain from the accident, but I wouldn't trade it for the world because I know I wouldn't be here doing the things I love to do if it weren't for it. How to get started? I got a job working the door at the Hollywood Improv. I considered that one of my first breaks because at the time I was seeing stand-up every day at work. Every night I was seeing Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, Sarah Silverman, Zach Galifianakis. Then during the day, I'd write with the guys, come up with different internet videos. At the same time, I just met Anders Holm in an improv class at the Second City in LA. And it's after we met that I think everything started to click into place. Salon asked Jay Pharaoh about dramatic acting, and Jay said, you could see how a lot of people who are comedians are transitioning over to that. Martin Lawrence just did a film where he plays a detective. Not funny at all. It's a serious role. If you're good at making somebody laugh, you can make somebody cry too. You have those skill sets. Comedians have to reflect on life. So whatever's going on, whatever we're portraying out there, whatever we're giving out there, this is an actual life that we're painting for you, and we've been through it. That's why you can connect with it. So it's just natural. Eddie Murphy's great at drama. He should have had an Oscar. Jamie Foxx has an Oscar. He got it for Ray. Mike Epps, Robin Williams, Jim Carrey. Donald Glover, the way he crossed over, the way he did Atlanta, the way he did music. It's okay to be multi-talented in 2023. As long as you have a fan base and you have people willing to give you business, you can't get canceled. All right, Jay Pharaoh, if you were going to be in a biopic, who would you play? And he said, the easiest one, you can literally see it, Eddie Murphy. Yeah, that would be pretty good, actually. Listen, I could put the leather suit on and just talk to people and just be cool. That's what it's all about, just being really cool. I could play Will Smith in a biopic. If you've ever seen me do Behind the Actor on YouTube, the series I used to do with two actors going back and forth, I had Will Smith. I put tape behind my ears. He had them joints out like this, like a dog, because Will Smith's got sonar in his head. Shout out to Will Smith, though. He don't need no bad press.
Hello, I am Mark Francis, host of Palace Intrigue, the podcast that delves into the daily drama of the British royal family. These short daily episodes cover the latest news and scandals involving the likes of Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, Kate Middleton, King Charles, and the rest. From backroom sources to public controversies, we've got you covered. Whether you're a long-time fan or just curious about the royals, Palace Intrigue is the perfect podcast for you. So join us as we explore the lives, legacies, and dramas of the British monarchy. Subscribe now and never miss an episode of Palace Intrigue.
The Nashville Comedy Festival continues. Ricky Smiley's at the War Memorial Auditorium at 6, Miss Pat at 7 at Zany's, Fortune Feimster at 8 o'clock at the Ryman, Ali Sadiq at 9 at Zany's. Very, very full day at the Moontower Comedy Festival in Austin. I won't read them all. I'll just skim and see what catches my eye here. The Sklar Brothers present Tag It at 7:30 at Parish. Sklar Brothers, Adam Ray, Dana Gould, Natalie Palamides, she's fantastic, Lisa Ann Walter, Liza Traeger, Andrew Dismukes, Andrea Jin, that's a good one. I like shows with a lot of comedians at the Hideout at 8:30. It's called Killers. Ralph Barbosa, a lot of buzz on him. Paris Sachet, Mike Vecchione, Michael Longfellow, Laurie Kilmartin, Josh Adam Myers, David Nihill, Jordan Jensen, Daniel Van Kirk, Tone Bell. Maria Bamford's the headliner at the Stateside at 9:30. Big J. Okerson, the headliner at Stateside at 11:30. And guess what? It's the last day on Sunday for the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. I'm going to miss doing that, especially because they have clips. William Wang's show is called Favorite Only Child. Promotix said the show was great, very enjoyable and funny from beginning to end. Highly recommended. Let's listen.
I'm from China. I don't like to tell people that anymore, because the news. I went to a job interview, like, are you Chinese? I was like, well, where are you from? It depends. Do you like sushi or Squid Game?
Straightforward, but funny, right? Fantastic. And can I tell you, behind the scenes, I just went through 5-6 clips, and I don't know these performers. I'm not an expert in all things Australian comedy, and everything I clicked on was a sketch or a pre-produced package. I could not find any more stand-up, so I think we've reached the end of the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. I did enjoy it. Hope you did too. The BBC has confirmed the dates of the Cardiff Comedy Festival. This one's coming up May 24th to the 26th. This one's a little different. It's a more, I'll call it industry. The BBC Comedy Festival is described as a chance for producers, both established and new, and those taking their first steps in the TV industry to come and reflect, celebrate, and explore comedy in the UK. There'll be a bunch of panels and events opened up for the public, and the tickets are free. So we'll keep an eye on the Cardiff Comedy Festival. And that is your comedy news for today. Follow the show for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your shows. See you tomorrow.
Once in a generation, a new British royal dynasty takes shape. I am Mark Francis, host of Palace Intrigue, a daily podcast about the royal family, and the only place you can get all the news, gossip, and updates from inside and outside the palace. From Harry and Meghan in California to Kate and William in the UK, along with King Charles, Queen Camilla, Prince Andrew, and the whole cast of characters. This coronation will be one for the ages, and we'll bring you every detail on every moment in just a few minutes, every day. Hear Palace Intrigue on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts.